Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time. This time on the Kindness Project, Vanuatu, Dinosaurs, and we have part one of our interview with Vasanti Hirani from Daal Bhaat Panni. Welcome to the Kindness Project. Hello, Soprano. I'm joined by two ladies who think they're sopranos. It's Sophie Dames and Charlotte Dames.
Hi, I'm joined by a man who seems fascinated with my new book.
Your book, The Teenage Guide to Life, is pretty amazing. I mean, it's not called The Teenage Guide to Life. It's called Rookie Yearbook 1, which, I don't know, I think Mum picked up for 50p at
Little Tesco's.
At the Tesco's. Okay.
I like.
Fair enough. So, if you hear some noise in the background, dear listeners, it isn't construction work. We're not having the house redeveloped. It's just my wife in the kitchen
Cooking dinner!
making far more noise than probably is ever needed. I mean, literally, we've started this recording about 12 million times, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's an overestimation. I'd say about 9 or
About
10.
about 9 times. But we're going to get there on this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, can I read you a little email we've had from our esteemed editor, Mr. Russell Dames? He's said, "Hi Chris and Charlotte, congratulations on reaching a massive..." Oh, and Sophie, yeah, because we mainly host the podcast, he didn't put you on there. Should I tell him off?
Yeah.
Tell him off then.
Oh, Russell! Put me on your emails!
Oh, Russell, put me on your emails. That's your next introduction, sorted.
Oi, Russ!
Oi, Russ, put me on your emails. Sort your emails out, mate. Congratulations on reaching a massive 18,000 list. Who in the world is listening? 18,000 people are listening to this podcast.
Where in the world are they listening to our podcast?
Well, we have got people mainly in the UK and quite a lot in America, but we've got some other countries. Lebanon, Iran, Vanuatu, and Guam. Is it Guam or Guam?
Guam. You said Guam last time and I corrected you.
It's Guam. And also the Republic of Korea. I think Kim Jong-un is the guy who's listening to it in the Republic of Korea.
When he has bad days, he likes to listen to our podcast.
17th happiest podcast in the world. Why wouldn't you want to listen to it?
Dad,
Yes.
Mum's stopped cooking, so we don't need no noise.
Oh no! If you suddenly notice the reduction in volume, which you probably haven't, that is
That's because we have a fabulous editor.
the construction work in the kitchen's stopped.
Construction work.
So we have listeners from over the world, and I thought it would be fun to tell you a little bit about one of the countries that one of our listeners is from, which is
Vanuatu.
offensive. Vanuatu. We've just lost our Vanuatu listener. Vanuatu is a Pacific island country located in the South Pacific Ocean. It's an archipelago. Is there any more words that I can pronounce in this? Which is of volcanic origin and is about 1,000 miles east of northern Australia.
Is the whole world not of volcanic origin?
Very good point. Maybe back in the day when the dinosaurs roamed around, it was of volcanic origin, which...
Yeah, but they're all dead now.
Which is a really convoluted link to this week's... Are you ready for this week's question of the podcast? Don't get too excited. This week's question of the podcast, which
Call your
Sophie
beans.
asked me whether, as a new guest host, she could do. So, Sophie, what's our question of the podcast?
What's your favourite type of dinosaur?
What's your favourite type of dinosaur?
If you know any dinosaurs.
So you like dinosaurs quite a lot, Sophie?
I love dinosaurs, I have a big box of them.
Okay, and what real ones?
No, not real ones.
Would you?
Yeah, like the animals in Spy Kids, and the guy lets them all out of the zoo, and they've all got mutated heads.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, would you go to a real life Jurassic Park? 'Cause
No.
I'd love to. No?
No.
Dinosaurs were ripped down the cages though.
Yeah, I know, but hopefully once they have it organised, we'll be safe. What's your favourite dinosaur?
You can't ask for that. There's too many good dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I like Diplodocus.
I like Brachiosaurus.
I like 3. T-Rex, Spinosaurus.
Spinosaurus?
It's the dinosaur with on his back. There's
I don't think they're called Spinosauruses.
There is a dinosaur called Spinosaurus.
There's a dinosaur called Spinosaurus.
I don't know what it's called.
Have you heard about that dinosaur that hides all the time? Do you think he saw us?
Oh, you're telling the joke wrong.
Well, go on,
You're
you do it.
telling
You do it.
the joke wrong. It's what do you call a blind dinosaur? Jathinkisaurus.
That makes no sense.
Do you think he saw us?
Oh, all right, fair enough.
My favourite 2 dinosaurs are T-Rex and
Spinosaurus.
no.
Go on, what's the other one? I mean, you could go.
I'll just show you 2 and
You can, yeah, but this is a podcast, so if you know you can't show people.
What's the one with 3 horns? Isn't that like not a real dinosaur? Wasn't there this thing that came out a little while ago that said that Triceratops didn't exist? It was just they found dinosaur bones.
No! Don't shatter my dreams. That's a Triceratops.
That's a tricep.
But that Triceratops is gold, red and green and painted for Christmas. I doubt if Triceratops, when they were around, if they were around, now you've broken that news to me, Charlotte, they might not have existed, roamed around the world dressed in gold glitter. I mean,
Yeah, but there was this thing that some scientists said that Triceratops weren't actually 3-horned and they didn't actually exist because they just
got the bones confused.
They just got the bones mixed up.
Yeah, could have happened. So, we'd like to know what your favourite dinosaur is, listeners, and which I think, by the way, Soph, is an amazing question of the podcast. So, high five on that.
And Terry wants to know if you like Triceratopses.
And if you don't like Triceratops, this golden red dinosaur.
Leave Terry alone.
Yeah, Terry.
Is it Terry? Why is it called Terry?
Triceratops and Terry.
Okay.
I would just call him Tracy.
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 Hello, Tracy.
My
Right.
name is Terry, not Tracy.
So, how can people get in touch with us and find out how to engage with the show?
I do not know yet.
We have this magic thing called the internet. You know, it's connected through the whole house. It's
And Twitter.
stronger downstairs than it is upstairs, to be brutally honest. Anyway, so we have Twitter, and we're at Ola Kindness, HOLA Kindness.
On
and
Google.
Then on Google, yeah, if you just Google us, we'll pop up. The Kindness Project. We should pop up first, I hope, I think, I wish. If you go on Facebook, there's this magical thing called the search bar. I don't know if you've tried it. I personally think it's a wonderful invention.
The problem is, if it's one of our North Korean listeners, they might not have Google, might they? What's the North Korean version of Google? Just a blank screen, just nothing. Oh yeah, what is this Google you're supposed to do? Don't do accents. I'm just going to do my normal accent. What is this Google you speak of, Chris? I've never heard of this Google.
Your local search engine, or
your North Korean search engine.
You never know. It might be South Korean. They might be from South Korea.
It might be.
It's probably from South Korea.
Your Vanuatu search engine choice. Where else have we got listeners from? I'm just curious now. I'm just wondering whether there's any other.
I suddenly have the urge to sing. Does anyone else suddenly have the urge to
sing? What
sing?
do you want to sing about?
The song from Moana.
What?
Not that one. Just look at the coconuts.
Are you implying that Vanuatu's people like coconuts? Is that what you're trying to say?
I was thinking where you are. But that was the only bit of the song I could remember at the time, and my elbows are itchy.
Anyway, wherever you're from, listeners, please do get in touch with us using Twitter, Facebook, Guam, Google, Vanuatu's,
Guamgle,
Go.
or any of those platforms, and we'd like to know what is your favourite dinosaur? So please do get in touch and let's crack on with the show. So this week we have got an amazing
Interview
The
with
amazing interview is with a lady called Vaz. Now Vaz runs a charity. Now we went for Charlotte and I, not Sophie, went for a curry. And it was a curry where we had to donate a little bit to a charity to get fed. And this charity was Vaz's charity, and it's called Daal Bhaat Panni, which stands for Lentils, Rice and Water. Now, what that charity does is support some of the most vulnerable people up in Nepal. So it does loads of amazing work with
the Nepalesian people.
With people in Nepal, and Vaz has been doing it for absolutely years, providing meals and providing support to loads and loads of people, and it's really important the work she does. So, shall we listen to the first part of the interview?
Yes.
Thank you, Jazz, so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Now, we met because we got to taste some amazing food that you had. Do you run a lot of those lunches, those charity lunches?
We have one lunch every quarter.
Okay.
And we time it so that it coincides with payday.
That's not the worst idea in the world, is it, actually?
No, but everyone loves the food. So if we coincide it with payday, then everyone is happy to give over their £5 notes and get a really good stuff.
Well, listen, I love the food, and normally I like hot food, but the red chilli, that was just too much. I mean, Charlotte, did you? Oh, honestly, I thought, I'm going to try a little bit, and it just blew my mind, literally. Yeah.
Well, that's why we put a health warning. It's not for everybody.
Is it for you? Do you like that?
I can't go with it, I'm afraid. I don't have that constitution.
Okay, fair enough. And where was that food from? What part of the world was that food from?
That food was from northwest India.
Okay.
It was from the region of Gujarat.
Okay.
And it was prepared by my mother's and my sisters.
Okay.
So it's always homemade, it's all made from scratch, and it's all made fresh for the events.
Okay. And just help me understand, you started and we'll find out a bit about Daal Bhaat Panni in a minute, but you started it and now it's a family affair, everybody gets involved, do they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the thinking essentially is that we ask people to support the project, the programme, but one really lovely way of getting people to support it is to actually feed them.
Yeah.
Because when they pay their money, they're helping to feed other people.
I love it.
So they're giving something, but they're also getting something that's also very nourishing and wholesome.
Amazing, love it. And feeding people is never a bad move, is it? Let's be honest. It's quite a good thing to do.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And we kind of learned very early on that hunger is a very primal thing, and to be hungry in this day and age just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
There is so much food everywhere.
Well, particularly when there's an abundance in Western countries, it seems a bit mad that there's parts of the world that where people can go hungry. So, tell me a little bit about you.
Me, I'm a psychologist by training.
Okay.
I've worked in the community and voluntary sector for about 30 odd years, maybe more. And I work within the health and the mental health sectors.
What made you get into psychology originally?
I actually started working with young people with special needs and people who were recovering from brain injury.
Okay.
When I was a young girl, I was volunteering.
Right.
And the changes and the differences in people fascinated me. The way that people were, the way that people behaved, changes in behaviour after trauma. And so I thought, actually, I want to get into finding out about psychology, the human condition, mental health conditions, but also how health relates to mental health.
Physical health, you mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so done quite a lot of work on non-communicable diseases.
Okay.
Obesity, coronary heart disease, diabetes, and working very much at a grassroots community level.
Okay.
With projects that are very much based in areas normally of multiple deprivation, of poverty.
Okay. Okay.
So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, amazing. So how long have you been in that career now? 30 years, did you say?
Coming on for about 30.
Okay, well I didn't want to age you too much, so that's why I said, like, if it was less, tell me, Vaz, because and do you still enjoy it?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Tell me a story where you've added value through the work you do in terms of the work you do in communities.
In terms of the work I do here, or in terms of Nepal?
Here.
Actually seeing changes in behaviour and changes in hope.
Okay.
I think hope is such an important thing when it comes to mental health. And I think that when people feel supported, when people are challenged in terms of isolation and they feel that there is a community or there are colleagues or friends or companions around them, I think that sense of hope can be magical in terms of getting people to embrace change, grow, explore opportunities for work. Things become possible in this country.
But without that, you've got no positivity about the future, right?
Absolutely. And I think the pressures when it comes to debt, to maybe employment or worklessness, when it comes to family breakdowns, or when it comes to childhood traumas, or neglects, hard times, ups and downs. Life can be challenging, it can be tough.
Okay.
So I think when there's a fabric of people around you, they provide a comfort blanket, people to talk to, and when you feel that there's someone to share with, yes, things can be possible in a really positive way.
But what do you do when sometimes people feel that they haven't got that network?
We work very much with community organisations, so community centres, faith-based groups, voluntary organisations. We work very much with organisations that are already embedded within the communities to try and actually open up messages around health, mental health, and well-being. So black minority ethnic groups, gay lesbian communities, disability communities, people who are living with long-term chronic illnesses. We tap into organisations that are already working on it.
With those people.
We work with people. It's the only way to go. There's no such thing as parachuting in a solution for communities.
It's about making use of the networks that they're already,
absolutely.
Right?
And actually growing something that's organic and developing the ownership for the community itself. And then you get a better buy-in. You get more support.
What's the biggest preconception that's false about people with mental health issues?
I think mental health issues come laden with stigma and taboo. And I think a lot of that is based on ignorance. We have a lot of language and words that we use to define ill mental health. We have very few positive words to describe mental health. And language informs our thinking informs our behaviour. Our behaviour then becomes negative. We don't have positive language to describe these things. So I think stigma and taboo are the worst things, really, and a lack of understanding.
Do you think that's changing in recent times, though? Because I certainly think from a generational perspective, but also from a awareness perspective, it seems mental health, there's more conversations to go on about mental health and positive mental health now than happened 20, 30 years ago?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think there absolutely are more conversations and there's an increase in awareness of mental health issues. But the difficulties arise when the support mechanisms within the structures that are out there are simply not geared up at the moment. The pressures within the NHS, the pressures within mental health services oftentimes mean that
the support's not there when people want it.
So, where parents often come forward and say that they're concerned about their child's access to, the dark web, self-harming, eating disorders. And oftentimes talking therapies have very long waiting lists. So to actually get the support that people need, I think that looking at mental health and maintaining good mental health, looking at prevention. Before we have to begin to think about a cure, would be so helpful to have conversations about switching off mobile phones. It's okay to switch off from social networks, and nothing in life is perfect. Striving to be perfect with the messages that are out there, puts so much pressure on people.
Yeah.
And
Perfection's a fallacy, isn't it? Absolutely, I agree.
And there are up days and there are down days, and that's life.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a fantastic life every day.
Yeah.
That is portrayed on the net.
Yeah,
Not
that's true.
Everyone looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic expectations.
What do you think on that, Charlotte? Do you think that there's because you love a bit of Instagram, don't you? Do you think there's a perception of perfection on the internet sometimes?
So I recently had to do a speech about the career I want to do, and I talked about the whole negative view on media, and I talked about atelophobia, which is like the fear of never being good enough and being imperfect.
Yeah.
And I think that does stem a lot from media. Like on stuff like Instagram, I try and avoid updates from the real world, and I stick to stuff like comics and artists.
Yeah.
Like positive little stories on there.
Yeah.
That I can just sit and read.
But the real world isn't real on there, is it? It's what people want to portray. Yeah.
Amplified into something that's either better or a million times worse.
Was that speech that made me cry because you did it? Charlotte had to do an English language speech, and she was really nervous. So the day before, I said, look, you can, if you want to practice it, we'll do it together. So she did, and I was in absolute floods of tears because it was so good. And then you got distinction for it, didn't you? Which is all good. That's my proud dad moment. However, this interview's not about me. It's about or Charlotte. It's about you, Vaz. So tell me about the charity and the work you do in Nepal.
Well, we call ourselves a direct action group.
Okay.
And we don't call ourselves a charity.
Why is that? Why do you make that distinction?
Because we're actually a group of volunteers.
Yeah.
And we don't get paid, and there are no overheads. So, 100% of the funds that we raise go to the people on the ground.
Yeah.
So we all support ourselves.
Yeah.
So every time I need to go to Nepal to progress the work that we're doing, I have to find the funds for the flights, the permits, the visas.
Yeah. And that's on you. The money you raise doesn't go towards that.
So when we say to people, we 100% of what you give us, whether it's your pocket money or whether it's your hairdressing tips, we absolutely mean it. 100% of what they give us goes to the people on the ground.
Amazing. And actually, I think there's a perception when people give that. Especially with larger charities, not so much with the grassroots ones, where a lot of the money gets lost in admin. But for your organisation, that's never going to happen, is it? Because it all goes towards.
Well, we don't have a Just Giving page because they charge commission. We don't have a website.
Yeah. So you keep your costs super low.
Absolutely, because we have to pay for everything we do out of pocket. So we keep it very streamlined, very efficient, and we find ways of making a little bit of money go a very long way.
How did you get involved with Nepal? Because it seems like...
I was climbing in 1997. I was on a climbing expedition in the Himalaya. And I was going to climb a mirror peak, which is about just under 22,000 feet above sea level. And I was going to spend about £3,500 pounds, and that was a lot of money back then. Still is. And that was going to be for my equipment and the expedition and everything else. And my father said to me, Vazzy, you're going to be spending all this money on yourself. What about everybody else? I thought, what do you mean? Dad said, well, it's a bit self-indulgent, don't you think? Spending all this money on yourself. So Dad and I, we brewed up an idea that basically was the commitment that we both made to this. I would go and climb this mountain on one condition, on the condition that we collectively were to raise £3,500 for the benefit of others. And so we did. We duly did.
Now I really like that idea. So you spent the 3,500, but out of pocket. But the ambition was to match that effectively.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And so the funds that we raised went to Africa and to India, and they went towards tackling trachoma, which is the ingrowing that cause blindness.
Which can be quite easily cured, can't it, with Western techniques?
Absolutely. It's not an expensive intervention, but the condition itself is so painful to go blind in that way. It's horrific.
Yeah.
And it also went towards breaking the cycle of the flies that lay the eggs in the water, which then the larvae burrow into the lime. And it went towards cataract operations, so that grandparents could be relieved from, taking children out of school for their care.
Yeah.
So if grandparents could actually have sight, their children could then go to school.
Yes.
And give over the role of caring for the grandparents who were blind.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's where the £3,500 went.
And it goes back to that. I suppose it goes back to your work in the UK, doesn't it? That intervention of improving health to improve lifestyle and opportunity. That's all interlinked, isn't it?
Totally, it's all connected.
Gotcha. So it started off with India. And so where else did you say? India and Africa.
Mm-hmm.
How did it move to Nepal specifically?
After the climbing expedition, I got to know quite a lot of the Sherpa community. I spent all my time with the Sherpas, you see. I wasn't that keen on the expedition. I was the only girl on the expedition.
Okay. Was it a bit macho? I'd imagine those kind of things are a bit...
The expedition went from the UK, and I was assured that there were other ladies on the expedition.
And nobody was there.
And then on the plane, on the way to Nepal, I was told that I was the only lady on the expedition. So I actually found myself spending a lot more time with the porters and the Sherpas, learning about how they live, how the seasons work for them, what opportunities they have, how they migrate through the year, and also the things that hold them back in terms of the issues affecting their families around health, access to health medication. And so we started very early on actually working on solar panels on some of the homes, so that people could actually use solar panels to heat water, reducing the impact on the ground through chopping wood and then actually eroding the surface soil for planting crops.
So help me understand what a Sherpa is, okay? Because I think I know, but I've got a feeling that my understanding of what a Sherpa is probably different.
So a Sherpa is a part of the Sherpa community, originally from Tibet.
Okay.
And they form part of a community that's very much based in the high Himalaya, with very Tibetan Buddhist orientation.
Principles,
And they're actually very much involved in having whole lives out there, working out there, and being really involved in the whole climbing, trekking industry that's taken off up in the mountains.
Because that was my understanding of a Sherpa. It's somebody who supports an expedition to do that, but it's bigger than that, isn't it? It's more of a community.
There's a whole culture, faith-based, there's a whole lifestyle, there's dress, there's celebrations, there's songs, high days, holidays, absolutely. There's everything that is essentially a community.
How big is the Sherpa community?
It's I couldn't give you the numbers, I'm afraid. I don't know the numbers. But I do know that almost everyone that we work with up in the mountains is of the Sherpa community.
Okay. And what's the unique challenges they face as a community?
As a community up in the mountains? I think access to resources. Where there are no roads, everything has to be carried. So, if it's roof slates or kitchen taps or, stones.
It's not driving it down the road to deliver it, is it?
It has to be carried. So rocks are taken in the mountains and they are then cut into large stones or bricks. They are chiselled by hand and they're transported in the mountains on foot. So essentially everything is carried on your back.
Sure.
The only wheels you see once you land up in Lukla will be prayer wheels. You won't see any bicycles, trucks, wheelbarrows.
Well, I suppose in the higher Himalayas it's a bit pointless, isn't it? Because it's not as there's no sort of flat-ish surfaces to get up there.
It's flat.
Gotcha.
This is what we call the Himalayan flat. That's a Himalayan flat. And
help me understand. So there's a big resource issue and transporting things out there. Is there a poverty challenge in that community, or does it?
Well, the community up towards Lukla and Nakumbu is actually really compared to the rest of Nepal, one has to remember that Nepal is one of the poorest nations in the world. It has nothing by way of GDP, it has nothing to export in terms of actually making any money. And so tourism is what makes the money. And the Khumbu, because of it's on the way into Everest Base Camp, is actually, it's got quite a lot of throughput in terms of tourism. So, compared to other parts of Nepal, Khumbu is not necessarily poor, although it is part of the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in the world. What we do have are pockets and areas of isolation off the main drag.
Understand.
And so we get areas of poverty where people with disabilities, people who are elderly, maybe who don't have providers or care providers.
Yeah, because I'd imagine in the country there's not a state provision, is there?
Absolutely not. I mean, there is no such thing as an NHS. There is no such thing as medical provision.
Is there any
welfare state?
Yeah, no
There's
welfare state.
nothing like that at all. So essentially, you're on your own if you don't have any sons or daughters to provide for you, and that's where our work comes in.
Okay. Tell me a story about the work you do and how it's helped one particular individual.
One individual? Yeah. Oh, there's a challenge now. I've got so many stories.
What's your favourite?
Okay, what's my favourite? I'll give you a story about the egg lady. Okay. We call her the egg lady. Now, she's a very, very old lady. Okay. She doesn't know how old she is.
Well, she's already a favourite because she's got egg in her name.
Well, we were introduced to where she was. Now, she lives alone in a tiny little room. Okay. And in that room is her sleeping, is her cooking, is her living space. So we're looking about maybe 9-10 foot by 10 foot. Okay. Yeah, everything happens in this space. So it's very dusty, it's very smoky with the fires, we're cooking. Now, when we first met the egg lady, she's got very few teeth. And we said to her, look, we'd like to shop for you. We'd like to make sure you've got enough resources to have enough food for 1 year. And we said, is there anything that you particularly like from the shop? And she said, I would like some eggs. And I said to her, well, have you had eggs before? And she said, no, I've never had eggs before. So at which point I said, well, do you then know how to prepare eggs?
Right, okay.
Because you've never tasted them. She said, well, when I was younger, I used to go to the marketplace and I used to watch people. And they used to crack the egg and then they used to peel it and then they used to eat it. They used to eat it.
Right.
So I said, okay, so how would you prepare it? And she told me, you'd put it in water and you'd boil it. And then you'd crack it and then you'd eat it. And she's making all the movements for me. She's very animated. No teeth. I mean, a very old lady. Absolutely gorgeous.
Now, Charlotte, is it just me? But I'm loving the egg lady already. Somebody gets that excited about eggs. How are you feeling about the egg lady?
Positive. So we took her to the shop. Okay. And she actually wouldn't go into the shop because she was scared.
You know what? And again, this is like just a mental shift that I'm struggling to make. How did she even know if she's going to like the taste of eggs or not?
I can't imagine how many years she's watched other people eating eggs, thinking I'd like one of those.
Yeah, but something we take absolutely for granted. Yeah.
So we took her to the shops, and we took her to one shop, and she wouldn't go in. Okay. She was scared. Because I think in the past what's happened is she's tried to go into the shop.
And they've been shooed away.
She's been shooed away. So she was really, really nervous about going into the shop. So that took a bit of time.
Okay.
But then we actually packed her basket full of things. And she carried her basket with a strap over her forehead and the smile on her face as she's carrying all these things home. And we got her 24 eggs in a crate. It was wonderful just to see her face. Food.
Did she like eggs though? That's the thing.
It.
Yeah. The egg lady. What's the lady's actual name? Nima. Okay. I love that story. So that was the first part of the interview. What did you think?
It was good.
Yeah, Vaz is a nice lady, isn't she?
Yeah.
I wasn't in the interview.
I was. I think I was. I remember being there.
So, now as you're our guest presenter on this one, do you want to do the Tis the End bit?
Oh no.
Tis the end!
Bit shouty. And the end is never the end, because the end is always last week's question of the podcast this week. And last week's question was, what's your next big challenge? So Sophie, what's your next big challenge? Getting up in the morning?
That's Charlotte's next big challenge.
Oh!
I get up every morning before you, so I don't know why you're saying that.
You don't stand up in the morning. In the morning, you just sit on your phone.
Oh, right, you two quibbling.
I leave the house before you do.
There are plenty of people who have got next big challenges. The next big challenge for Hayley Ball, friend of the show, is waiting to hear back from the latest test towards the next promotion. So hopefully the next big challenge will be service control. I think she works on the tube.
Ooh.
Can I read this one, please?
Yeah, Tamsin Kane said,
That is a good question. Getting my son to study for his GCSE. I don't.
GCSEs before April.
Oh,
Should we
God.
give another one a go? John Cook said,
Friend of the show.
Getting a reply from TFI on the ridiculous accessibility situation at Westminster Station.
firstly, good reading, give me a boom, and good luck with that, John. Mike Christie said, my next big challenge is getting my divorce finalised. So sometimes
Nice.
challenges are like you've got to overcome adversity, haven't you? Sometimes that's what the challenge is. And moving on with my life. Not much then. Caroline Thompson said, just planning a wedding. Oh yeah, nothing.
Nice!
And Andrew,
A divorce and a wedding in one answer? Oh.
Andrew Berwick said, getting my daughter her EHCP, which I think is she needs a bit of support with her education. Tracy Kincella said,
Organising our fly drive holiday to America, as we like to visit about 5 states, and this time we want to go and see Roswell.
Roswell is where the aliens are meant to be. Now, I don't believe in
Area
aliens.
51.
Yeah, yeah.
That raid was ridiculous.
Stuart Winder is ambitious in his longer term goals. Tomorrow morning's alarm is his response. Alison Hagan said, I'm going to run up the cheese grater. That's the building in London, not an actual cheese grater.
Dada.
Have you seen that meme that's going around the internet at the minute, where this guy sent a photo of the inside of a cheese grater to his mate and went, oh, have you seen the interior of this amazing new club? And his mate texts back and went, oh, that looks cool, where is it? And he went, Shoreditch. And then he's gone, shall we go on Saturday? And all it was a photo of the inside of his cheese grater. I'm going to try that. Where's that cheese grater?
It's in the drawer. Have you seen the meme going around of people just sending song lyrics and waiting for their friends to reply before they send the next line?
I like that one. Al McCann's next challenge is...
Not thinking I've got there. There's lots to still be done.
There's always lots to still be done. That's the problem with challenges, isn't it? As soon as you do one, what happens?
You get another one.
Yeah, there's always the next one. Amanda C. Smead said, my next challenge is for 2020 to be better than 2019. Sharon Adkins said, interesting
question. I have been so fixated on getting through each day. I haven't set myself any actual challenge for a long time. Food for thought today.
Know what food for thought means?
No.
It means that question is helping her think about what she wants to do as a challenge. Louise McCann said, I've got a half marathon this Sunday, Chris. You are my inspiration. Because I did a half marathon a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? Serena Duffy said,
Learning to drive.
and Brian Hill said, next is my PhD.
I want to get one of those before I die.
Roberta White said, I'm going to be getting my new guide dog soon. And Mike Fitzgerald says,
Trying to work out why I see few of these posts. I've not seen any in ages.
I know, we haven't been asking that many questions of the podcast, have we? So yeah, we need to that. And then Francis Barrett said, growing my business to its full potential by subcontracting work out to my fellow social media managers. So a bit of business, bit of life, bit of people still trying to work out what they want to do.
Bit of marriage, bit of divorce.
Bit of divorce, bit of education.
GCSEs, woo!
Driving!
And driving. So all good stuff there, and good luck with whatever life may throw at
You got this, guys!
Wait, can I tell something?
Yeah.
We're going... On Friday, we're going to Nanny Bob's house.
We are off to Scotland.
Scotland!
This is what I said. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to.
Alright, done. On that note, see you next time.
Bye! Bye!